Okay, boys and girls, welcome back. Today, for science, I'd like you to open up your books, turn it to page 181. That's right, page 181. We took a look at the last few lessons about how scientists observe, that they use their senses. They look at things, they hear things, they smell things, they feel things, and sometimes they even taste things so that they can observe something about the world. Then they do predict. They make a prediction based on what they've learned in the past and what's happened recently. For example, I bet you could predict what an apple would taste like if you looked at it and it was all brown, and you felt it and it was all mushy, and you smelt it and it smelt bad. I'm sure you could figure out what it would taste like at that time. So, boys and girls, today, we're going to take a look at some other things that scientists do. First, we'll take a look at this subheading called classify. Then we'll look at the subheading called compare and contrast, which we've done some of in other places such as reading and writing. So we'll start with classify. Scientists classify or put things in groups. Scientists might classify kinds of apples by taste, shape, and color. There are many different kinds of apples. How do you know what kinds of apples are the smallest? You might group apples by size. Go ahead and grab your pencil, and I'd like you to put and underline this sentence. Scientists classify or put things in groups. Put a box around classify. Classify means to put things in groups. You could classify different ways. You might have a group of apples all based on taste, the sweet ones, the sour ones. You might have them by color, the red ones, the yellow ones, and the green ones. That's how we put things in groups as a scientist. We call it to classify. Now, of course, you can group them by what they look like too. Do you have large ones? They could be in one group to classify that as a group, or you could classify a group as the small ones, and you could have small size apples in that group. So classify is what we do whenever we observe and then put things together in a group. Now, when we do that, often we do this thing called compare and contrast. Scientists compare and contrast what they observe too. They tell what is alike and what is different. Please go ahead and underline these two words, compare and contrast. Then I want you to circle the word alike and different. Now, friends, this is important. When you compare, it's how they're alike. When you contrast, it's how they're different. So I want you to take your pencil and I want you to write the word alike above compare. I'm going to do the best I can with mine on my computer here at home. And then contrast, I want you to write the word different above it. Now keep in mind, if something is alike, there's something about it that's the same as others you put in the same group. For example, I could put all the red apples together. That's the way they're alike. Or all the green apples together. That's how they're alike. However, things can be different or contrast too. You could have two red apples, and one could be large and one could be small. So even though they're alike in one way, you compared them that way, they're red. You can also contrast them because they're different. So I want you to take a look at this picture over here. There's a caption. So scientists learn about how plants grow. They learn how to grow more and better apples. So what they do is they observe and they put in the apples, of course, into groups. They classify them and they find the ones that are, of course, ones people would want to eat. They taste good. And so when they do that, they are then observing, classifying, and comparing and contrasting so that they can predict how to make a better apple based on what they've learned so far. So here's a question I'd like you to answer. How do you know if red apples are as sweet as green apples? I'll get you started. I know. Go ahead and finish that sentence. Once you've finished your sentence, please go back into Google Classroom and your activity. There is a quick lesson 2 check to do to teach me and let me know what you've learned from the lessons this week.